to today's Tech Power Up with EduTech. I'm Darcy Backyard here at Prairie Public. Excited for a little bit more tech learning.
Yeah, and I'm Kelly Rexine with NDIT EduTech, and we're going to talk a little bit about Flipgrid.
Flipgrid could be my favorite tech tool.
It is powerful, and the really cool thing about Flipgrid is that you don't need another account because they're a partner with Microsoft. So again, with your K-12 account, you will just be able to access all of that, and you won't need another account.
And if you're a Google user, if you're at a Google school, or if you have a Google account, it's the same thing. It's a single sign-on. You don't need another account. You can use either a Google account or an Office 365 account.
Correct. Yeah. All right. So again, Flipgrid is a simple video. You basically get a certain amount of minutes to video yourself to a response to a question that a teacher may set up. So the app is great on your phone, so this would be excellent for older grades or even younger grades. They've really improved their app, but you can also get it on, we're sharing it on a web browser on a PC right now too. So this is what you'd see more on a PC, but you can get it on an application as well.
This is great because students can put the free app on their cell phones.
Yep.
And you can also just use your laptops.
And I think it's really cool because you can use this K-12 or, K whatever, but
Absolutely.
Because it's so intuitive, it's so easy, you literally just hit start and then you can
Right. A giant green plus button floating in your face to get started.
Another cool thing too is that plus button you can record, and if that student isn't 100% satisfied, they can re-record that. So it's okay, and I didn't want that. I'm going to re-record it. I didn't want that. They can do it 90 sometimes until they get what they want, because they're not only producing this for their teachers, they're producing this for their peers and other people. So now they want it to be perfect, right? So
yeah. And that's the nice thing. So there are so many things that you as a teacher can control. And the first thing you can control are your grids. So a year ago, Microsoft took over Flipgrid. So now all of these features are free. You used to get one free grid. Now Microsoft has made it so you get unlimited grids. So for me, organizationally, I would probably end up creating a different grid for each of my different classes. So think of a grid as a class, but it could be any kind of organization. And so I could see at an elementary school level of having one building-wide grid for some questions that you want group responses to. I've talked to librarians who want to do book reviews, and they want that for the whole school, right? So you might have a book review grid that you share with multiple teachers, and that's a little bit bigger grid than just your classroom, but then you have your different classroom grids.
So each grid comes with a code that you have your students or anybody else that wants to put videos into that grid would come with a code. You can always share those out. And so let's go ahead and click on into one of these. So now you have, this is the grid, but you have topics within that grid. So these are all different kind of topics that you would see.
Kind of assignments.
Assignments,
Let's go into the Animal Farm news.
This one?
I just want to share the wide variety. So this is something that I created for what would be high school students. And I used it as just a review at the end of chapters in reading a book.
Sure.
So this was an ongoing, standing, actual assignment. You finish reading these chapters, and for each chapter, you have to do a news report. So this allowed us to practice genres a little bit, because they had to do all 4 of the different types of news reports. There aren't actually sports in Animal Farm. It's a novel, it's a thing. But what got going on there is they really had to think metaphorically about the weather and the sports. So there were a couple of different levels of thinking. So news and the personal interviews were a little bit more straightforward, but news was all facts, whereas the personal interviews got into a lot of opinion and bias. So we got to talk about those different perspectives. Go in and you can click on any of those videos. You can see that they have their video. I can type in feedback. I can give a little grading rubric. Students do have to have shared it with you, like connected. I think I've turned off the emoji feedback, but we'll look at that when we create one. But you can just see, like, now I just listen to this response and I get to hear what this student thinks.
Sure. And there's a couple different options within edit, and you can go in as your teacher, or a teacher, you can edit some of the students' videos, and then you can also share that out. So this would be great for Microsoft Teams or Google Classroom. You can share those little pieces of learning out or into for your parents too to see.
I love this as an option too, like Remind, little cloud on the far right is a great sharing option. It sends a text message to anyone who's joining your class. So parents, kids. So if someone leaves you just a brilliant summary of what you did in class that day, you could take that student and shoot it out on Remind to all the students, kids who were sick or absent for sports or just gone on vacation, and any parents who are in there can type in a quick little message like, hey, Greta provided a great summary of what we did in class today. Click on the video for a brief overview. And now you've got a brief overview. If you use this as an exit ticket, just summarize 3 key learnings from today, that can become a resource that is reteaching content to students.
Do you want to show them mixtape?
Sure, and you can see a little bit from here. So mixtape is another feature that was an advanced paid version. But it does exactly what we did, or I can't speak for you, but what I did in the 80s and early 90s of actually making mixed tapes, combining things from different CDs together and from the radio. And you can add this response to a mixtape. So you will have different mixtapes, but I have this Animal Farm best of that I already created. I'll show you that, and I'll add that. Now, if I go out of my grid and I go back up here, I have my activity. These were my grids. These are all my classes. I have mixtapes. You can add new mixtapes. So you might have one, like vocabulary unit 1. You might have, the best of math about area or square roots. And different students have created different videos. And what this allows you to do is put this little mini collection together.
Nice. So
instead of all of the videos, you're just key selecting. So maybe it's one video that was really good at explaining, area of a triangle. And then there's another video that's really good at cylinders, and then at squares and at rhombi. And then you would have all of these, and now you can share this. And now this becomes, here is a list of review topics for the test coming up.
So that mixtape doesn't necessarily have to come, those videos don't have to come from the same topic. They can be multiple topics.
They can be from anywhere, because you're going to create the mixtape topic here. So you're going to dictate what that mixtape topic is. And when I go back to my grids, I can now click on any of the grids, any of my classes, and I could even go here, and if this person's video in this other topic was great, I can add that to this mixtape.
Cool.
So all of my mixtapes will show up here, and I just choose which mixtape I want to add it to. You mentioned about like students producing for each other, and you as the teacher can control that. And that's one of the reasons why I like this. You mentioned like recording the time.
Sure.
It can be as little as 15 seconds for a quick bell ringer. It can be as long as 5 minutes. But when you scroll down, you'll be able to add your prompt. You can add links. You can add additional resources that you want kids. So maybe you want them to watch a video before and then respond to that video. When I click on more options, I can have an extra tip, of what they want to do. I can add additional attachments. So I could add a rubric. I could add an assignment sheet. Now here is where you can really control things. So you can control if you want to moderate the videos. So right now, videos will be hidden from students until you activate them. So depending on what I'm doing, if I'm asking students to solve a math problem and they have to record their math problem and they have to explain me step by step, I might not want that to just automatically be public to all the people in the class.
Yep.
Because if the kid is wrong, I don't want to draw undue attention. The purpose of this is as a formative assessment so that I can help that student.
Yep.
But if I'm doing a, hey, Romeo is visiting our classroom today. What question, and this is my bell ringer, what question do you want to ask Romeo today when he comes to our class? Or our bell ringer assignment is, all right, you're Romeo and you're Juliet. Record your video and describe to each other how you felt when you saw each other at that party in Act 1, right? And I could give different prompts to different students, but now I want them to see each other's, right? So if this is off, it's just gonna be free. Like they're gonna see everything. If you turn this on, you will see everything first and you control if and when other kids can see things.
Yep. And I think there's a lot of times teachers forget about like all of the settings, you know, all the settings that it can do. So I think going through some of these are great in telling teachers what they, you know, can and cannot do.
Yeah. And this is another good one. You know your students, you trust them or not, student to student replies. But this is really cool. So now you could have a whole video chain of replies.
Yep.
So the first round of videos is Romeo and Juliet, share how you feel. And now I can have okay, now new teams, now you're Mercutio and Tybalt, and you're going to respond to a Romeo and Juliet, and you're going to tell them what you think of them being in love, so to speak, right? And so now the students can make a video response to that video. So you could make this a whole class assignment where you're asking and answering different questions going through, or you can turn that off. And then it's just the one flat thing. You can also allow different things. So you can do a selfie and the video. You can just have it do the video. A lot of times, most people do the selfie and the video. So you saw that, like there's a little frozen picture. The biggest thing is you can control if people can like or not. I frequently turn this off because I don't want this to be a popularity contest. And same thing, you can turn the view count off or on. But the selfies and those things, you can choose what you want to do.
Students love taking the selfies before. And then putting the emojis on there.
They really do, like the stickers and the things. But if you're pressed for time and you just want them to answer the question, you might every once in a while just say video only. Like I only want you to do the video. How do you see using this? Because I've shared a lot from a high school perspective. What do you see from that third grade perspective? How would you use this for your elementary school kids?
So I think there's kind of two ways. I have used it for, you know, bullying, classroom norms, those kind of things. And then, but educationally, I think you could use it as a, you know, a read aloud or a fluency or something like that where and realistically, it doesn't have to be, you showed the option where it doesn't have to be a peer-to-peer thing. You can share that information with me as the teacher, and then we can go back and forth, and maybe it's a 1-minute timed reading passage or something like that. But
that's a great idea. And again, now you could make a mixed tape. So if you did a read aloud every week, and you saw how fast it was, I'm not saying that that's still not a lot of work when you have 20 to 25 kids in your classroom, but think of how powerful to gift that student at the end of the year with a mixed tape of a beginning of the year video, a middle of the year video, you know, a couple middle and the end of the year video, and then you share that with parents and with the kid, and you can really tell them look at how much you've grown in your fluency this year.
Yeah. That's more powerful than saying, oh, you've grown so much, or, you know, I knew you were going to grow this much above it. But when you show them actual footage or actual evidence that here's what you've done, here's what you have completed.
Really, the possibilities are endless. And again, it's so simple to use. Once you've used it, I think you'll find you use it constantly.
Yep.
Avoid the urge to use it every day. As with any tool, kids get kind of sick of anything over and over. But it will become a great way. For me, I love it most because it takes the fear out of writing.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of high schoolers even get blocked up at the idea of having to write a paragraph response.
Mm-hmm.
But I can ask them a question and say, tell me in 30 seconds what your thoughts are, your understanding of blank is, and have a clear prompt. And for whatever reason, frequently kids are more able to speak their ideas. They get stuck sometimes when they have to write, and they get caught up in semantics and grammar and spelling. And all I want to know is what they know.
Yep.
So if I'm not doing an assessment about writing, I love that this is a shortcut for me to hear what they know. It's also faster for me to grade.
Yep.
FYI. But I'm still getting to hear from those kids what they know.
Mm-hmm.
Feel free to reach out to either of us if you need some support integrating Flipgrid into your classroom. There's a great network of Flipgrid educators on Twitter and Facebook, so you could reach out to those folks as well. But how else can they get a hold of you and the folks at EduTech for more resources?
Yeah, you're always welcome to email me. Our website, www.edutech.nodac.edu. You can find all of our face-to-face and online classes there, and contact our help desk, or like I said, myself. And
There are so many great tech resources available at EduTech, and they are here for you as a teacher. So please reach out to them if you're a North Dakota educator. And if you're not in North Dakota, still check out their website, because a lot of their trainings and classes would be something you can take advantage of too. So thank you for tuning in for this Tech Power Up with EduTech, and we'll see you next time.